Seems pretty good. I actually had a limitation to go to Tijuana, but I felt this was much more exciting. So I hope it lives up to it.
Hey, sorry to interrupt you. I think you need to unmute yourself. I don't think we can hear you on the stream. Yeah, sorry, my hacking in the booth might have been a little bit too much hacking. I might have accidentally not plugged that cable in. So, do you want to give that a test?
1 2 1 2. That looks like we're back. All right. Thank you for that, Biggles. It looks like we just missed my little Spanish in the intro, but I believe we're back. Please let me know if we're having any further technical difficulties. But yes, we are in Mexico, Mexico City to be exact. At the circuit named after the brothers Rodriguez as our drivers here in Division 2 of LNR are coming out onto the track now. Now, this is a new division, and we do have a lot of different representatives from a lot of different tiers from the previous season. We have drivers such as God of Hellfire and Ironhammer hailing from the first assists tier, as well as Dick Tucker, Pile of Garbage, and Ioannidis from assists 2, and of course Ramikron, Camel, and Buffalo Beans, who competed and did so well in the no assists division. So a real mix of drivers out there today. Who are you guys going to be keeping an eye on?
Well, it's a fresh season and it's a fresh start, but so far I can't say that Jay is the first out on mediums. So I'm wondering, he seems to have some confidence there. Let's see how he does.
Indeed, and it looks like he's not alone. We've got Seamus Soul Leader on a set of mediums himself, as well as Camel in the Mercedes. So perhaps these drivers will be looking to switch up the strategical schemes for the race, or perhaps just setting a banker lap in an effort to then beat it on the soft tire. Let's take a look here. Bringing up the lap data here as God of Hellfire appears to be stuck in a little bit of traffic here behind what looks like a Ferrari there immediately in front of him. That might compromise him here through this middle sector. Now, of course, this circuit, very high speed along Sector 1 for the most part, and then Sector 2 takes over with much higher velocity corners that require a lot of aero, and then Sector 3 very, very slow, very technical, and requiring the maximum grip from the chassis, as it looks like we have a Williams already spun with plenty of damage on the car. It looks like the car of Arcraft here, and he is missing some bits of his front wing there. He's just being very careful to let everybody through, not impede anybody's hot lap, and surely he's going to be going off into the pits. At the moment, the two McLarens, one of God of Hellfire and the other one of Pile of Garbage, they are sharing the provisional first row with the time to beat at the moment of 1:14.7 now. Actually, we're seeing some really unbelievable stuff on pit entry. There is a Racing Point look like he's backing up there. That would be Schumacher. And I do have to extend my sincerest apologies to Zay Bernice, whose name I butchered not once, not twice, more than several dozen times over the finale of the previous season. Great to have Zay back with us, and we'll keep an eye out on them and try not to butcher their name too much this time around.
And then we have LOR Vinicius with a blazing fast 14.3, putting him 4/10 ahead of Ironhammer. And strongly ahead of everyone else who's lapped so far.
Yeah, and don't worry about that, Savage, butchering Australian names. It's perfectly okay. We're used to it.
Is Zay from Down Under then?
I believe Zay's from Down Under, if I'm not mistaken, for a second. Maybe I'll butcher it even more by giving Zay. Yeah, Zay's from Down Under.
Yeah. Now I gotta say it with an Australian
it's
accent.
fine. You can use that get out of jail free card anytime when it's on an Aussie.
Well, that all being said, I hope to learn all the drivers' names here. Many, of course, familiar to me already from previous LOR seasons. A few newcomers by the looks of it. And indeed a great grid. Very competitive because at the moment, the cars in provisional second and third place are split by only 1,000th of a second. And that is exactly the competition we want to see as the other drivers are slowly getting up to speed here. Vinicius, who's currently on provisional pole, looks to be stationary on the main straight here. Not sure what's going on with him there. It looks like he's... That's very interesting.
Seems like there's a bit of a disconnect with the FIA broadcast. Vinicius is actually in pit right now.
That makes a lot more sense. Yeah, it looked like he just came to a very abrupt halt. Very strange stuff. But nonetheless, we're actually going to move on board with his teammate, who is looking to be actually coming into the pits, and there's a very rapid racing point immediately behind him. I really hope that driver doesn't get compromised, and that is our good friend Zay Bernice, Bernice, I'm still doing it, still on his outlap, and there he goes, getting a good run out of the former Peraltada corner, now named after Nigel Mansell, who won this Grand Prix twice before the pause in the 90s and 2000s. And we're just going to stay on board with Zay, rocketing down the main straight, braking very hard and locking up the inside tire into the Solana complex of corners. Just 1, 2, 3, crucial to get a good run out onto the second DRS straight. And let's see how good his time is. That's a first sector of 28.2 seconds. Again, locking up that tire. And that Renault is so close in front. Surely that driver will move inside, and they do. And through Recorte Rabaque now, turn number 6. And into the second sector we go. So far, a very competitive time for Zay.
Yeah, Zay, you got it. Good call. Exactly. Just call him Zay. Shorten it. Nice and sweet.
Indeed, coming down to the end of the back straight, and now we enter such an exciting location as Foro Sol, a venue for the baseball team Diablos de Mexico, and as well as a stage for bands such as U2, Iron Maiden, and many in between. Zay crosses the start-finish line, setting a 1:15.7, and that puts him into 6th position.
Ooh, Buffalo Beans spinning out in his fast lapper here, down in 9th. He's got himself straight again, moving to the side to let people go by.
Indeed, no damage on his car by the looks of it, and that is his lap over between turns 5 and 6. And we can see at the front here, LOR Vinicius is now joined by Arcraft, who had that spin in the final sector not too long ago, and only 7,000 separating these two drivers, both on their soft compound tires. Schumacher looks to be the only driver left on a medium, and he is not going to be very happy with his position of 14th. Of course, strategical schemes throughout this track can vary. A crucial element here is how high up in the mountains we are. 2,200 meters above sea level, and what this means is that there's far less downforce available from the air surrounding these cars. It's far less dense, which means there's far less pressure being generated by the wings of the cars as they travel at high speeds, which means that this circuit is particularly tough on tires, and it is also particularly tough on the engines, as far less cooling is available as well.
So does that mean if you're Kimi Räikkönen, will you get the drink or will you not get the drink?
I think you might get the ice cream, actually, and you might throw it right into your cooling ducts.
Yeah, that'd be a great idea, actually, wouldn't it? Shout out there, Stevie Gaming. Again, big fan. Good to see you. I asked Steve, have you raced? Do you race, Stevie? He's like, yeah, he's an LOR. He's Steven. So, yes, he did call out. So Stevie's got the first he's got the first safety car, or shall we say virtual safety car prediction. He's predicting it lap 1 in this section. I'm not sure if he's saying lap 1, section 1. And Zay said, just call me Zay. Zay, are you talking? Are you twitching and driving? You know, don't twitch and drive, bro. You know that's not a good thing to do. But I guess in the pit lanes, they managed to hook you up on that one.
The complexities of the modern... Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the complexities of the modern F1 steering wheel are truly endless, and you can adjust your engine mapping, you can send out tweets, and you can join a Twitch feed while you're driving. So,
Especially if you're Lando Norris, and I would not be surprised if F1 2022 or 2021 actually end up putting some sort of live Twitch feed into the cockpit there of drivers like Lando and Charles Leclerc and so forth. Hey, I'm just calling it out there right now. Quote me on that in a couple of years' time. It may happen.
I really hope not.
Let's say voice to text, okay? So they can't type it, obviously, but maybe voice to text might work.
How about thoughts to text? Just wire
How
it
about
into
I
their
should
brain.
trademark that and then charge F1 if they try to use that in the future?
Yep. There it is. So only 11 thousandths of a second separating our first 3 drivers at the moment, and that is Ironhammer, Vinicius, and Arcraft. The AlphaTauri driver currently sitting on provisional pole, and we're currently on board with Anonymous, who we actually saw racing recently around Spielberg. So this driver had to endure quite the plane ride in overnight to get over here to the Mexican capital. And let's see if he can do anything to improve his time. It doesn't look like... Let's just go ahead and get this track map out here. It doesn't look like he's on a hot lap, actually, as it doesn't seem that he's improved his sector. But he's set in 4th position at the moment.
Are we there live?
We are still live. Yep. Just.
No, he's saying he's now taking a. Talking at my pit lane, mate. Don't worry about it. Are you talking at pit lane, mate? Don't give him any setup ideas.
Mr. Pit Lane person, are you in the lobby by any chance? Sorry to interrupt.
No.
Sorry, who?
I believe that is asking towards Biggles. Is that correct?
That's Zay.
Yeah.
Zay is it. No, I'm not. I'm running all around the place, guys. Come on, give me a chance here. I'm up and down the commentary booth. I'm in the pit lane. I'm all over the place. I'm trying to get some data up on my iPad, but I don't think the Wi-Fi works very well here in Mexico.
I was basically just asking, can I have an invite to the lobby, please?
Ah, that may be possible indeed. Yeah, let's make sure to get...
What's the password, sir?
Basically, it's a complex operation, but obviously, to keep it simple, I was exiled from the lobby, but I can get in now. But can you add the profile that's on your...
Well, could you join on me? Because I don't see you online, so...
No, because basically you got to go on Discord and add the profile.
Oh,
that I sent
no.
you.
Ooh.
Okay,
There we go.
Yeah, we have to sort all this technical issues out.
Sorry.
It is only 2020.
Fairly quiet on the track at the moment, as we just saw God of Hellfire just miss out on his current best time of 1:15.5 by just a little over a tenth. And it looks like with 4 minutes left to go in this qualifying session, many of our drivers are sat in the pit lane just getting prepared to go on their final runs. Now, this track is very short. The time to get around it is just a little over 74 seconds, and you can imagine there may be some problems with traffic around this final lap. We'll have
Our
to keep
current
an eye
pole
on that.
sitter here, Iron Hammer, looking to grab an early lead here. It seems already out doing his fast lap, so let's ride along with him for now.
Indeed, and we are keeping an eye on him as he cuts through the first couple of corners. Now, we can imagine that one of Vinicius or Racecraft, or now Anonymous, who is only less than a tenth away from these guys. Look at how tight those gaps are. All these drivers in the 1:14.3s, and at the moment, Iron Hammer is going basically neck and neck with his fastest time, down by only a few thousandths in the first sector. It'll be very, very important for him to be able to improve that time because of how many drivers are right close behind him, taking these corners with and almost full throttle, twitching out the rear end just ever so slightly on exit. That's going to compromise his time just a little bit, and he's down by a tenth. Can he string together something immaculate through this final sector? Taking turn 13 very carefully, staying off of all of the curbs, and very gentle through 16 and now through Mansell. No, he will go into the pits, and that is his attempt as Aircraft beats his time for provisional pole and sets a 1:14.2. Up next, Vinicius around the final corner as well, but he looks like he has, if I am correct, invalidated this lap, and he will not be improving, unfortunately for him.
We have Enoch here coming along the last set of corners. Down in 8th currently. Let's see if he can improve that time. Get himself further up on the grid. Oh no, he's coming in. He seems to have abandoned his lap.
Very unfortunate, and it looks like Anonymous now on an outlap, so he has given himself just enough time to get to that start-finish straight, and Bondi as well we're seeing to go on a hot lap just as the timer expires.
It doesn't look like I'll be racing then.
Yeah, how come you couldn't join on me there? Sorry. I sent you.
Because you haven't.
I sent you my friend code.
No, because I sent you a friend request on the other account. For some reason, yeah.
I did not get it, sorry. I have no friend requests. I have no friends. Nobody wants to be the friend of the Beagles. That's fine. That's okay.
Anonymous in the Williams now setting a session best sector 1. Forgive the interruption. He is on an absolute flyer of a lap at the moment. Exiting turn 11 from that very, very technical middle section of the track, but that track map is red for him. Could it be possible that he is also invalidated at some point along this lap? We will know very shortly if he peels straight into the pits or if he goes, no, he's going to go across the start-finish line, but unfortunately unable to improve his time, quite possibly invalidating Vinicius on his outlap as well, and Bondi already starting his hot lap. We will stay with the driver in 5th place as he tries to tackle the first sector.
As we watch, just an update from Serlo back here in 19th. He unfortunately seemed to have had some issues, and he's only just out on track now, trying to race to the start-finish line to be able to finally set a lap.
My sincerest hope is that the session timer that is at the very top left of our screen is not correct and is desynced, because it just does not look like Cirillo will get there in time, unfortunately. And he does remain the final driver to not set a lap. However, he's going to cross that line. And no, there is no checkered flag next to his name, so he will get to go on his hot lap indeed. And here's hoping that works out well for him. And there's carbon fiber flying down the back straight there, quite possibly off of the Williams of Anonymous. We just caught a glimpse of that as Bondi, in turn, is starting to back up into that Williams car, coming to the very end of his lap. He is going also into the pits, and drivers unable to improve on their times on this final attempt here.
I got some interesting facts there for you, as these it looks like the grid is not going to be able to improve much more than this right now. It is legal to shave and while you're driving in Mexico, so I certainly hope these drivers aren't doing this right now.
Is it illegal anywhere else though? I may be headed to prison.
Yeah. Well, and also on this one, Mexico City is also bigger than New York City. So New York, you have nothing on Mexico.
Wow.
So the largest city there.
Very populous city, Mexico City, indeed.
Cirillo about to cross the finish, and he improves to 15th. So probably not as good as he could have hoped, but definitely not 19th anymore.
Good call there. Blue Cow called that one out there. So they put in, we didn't catch that one. Sorry about that. But, well, I didn't catch that one. Fuzzy caught it. Good call. Good catch there.
Indeed, and it looks like the Haas team riding, if I'm correct, only on Cirillo at the moment. Not going to be too pleased with that result. Both McLarens also in the bottom 10, but Red Bull showing a very, very impressive outing with both cars in the top 5, and that will certainly set them up well for the Drivers' Championship. Tess and Nick in the Renaults showing top 10 results as well, and it is still packed as ever for our leaders. The top 10 fitting into just a little over a second around this very, very complex track. The session timer about to expire, and we will have our final starting order very shortly now. And here we are. That is qualifying in the books, and we're about to meet our pole sitter and our frontmost cars here in just a moment. Here we go. Arcraft in the Williams takes pole for the Mexican Grand Prix round 1 of the LOR D2 season. Vinicius in the Red Bull close behind him by only 65 thousandths of a second. Ironhammer staying strong in the AlphaTauri in 3rd place. Anonymous taking 4th. Bondi in 5th. Camel 6th. AJ in 7th. The first Renault of Tess in 8th. Enoch in 9th. And Nick rounds out the top 10. And we will be back very shortly with the race. Don't go anywhere.
Some information from the from our ears in the pit, in the pits here. Apparently, it seems that Anonymous claims that his wing damage was from Bondi not moving out of his way during in lap.
Interesting. That I wonder if that affected his lap time. I couldn't imagine so, because his final lap is very, very rapid. But already drivers forming rivalries on the track by the looks of it.
Also, Savage, if you want to, are we live?
We are live, yes.
We are.
I did not want to interrupt.
Are we live in color? Because believe it or not, color TV was invented in Mexico.
Was it really? Mm-hmm. Incredible stuff.
I have a little fact speed today. You know that.
I love it.
Biggles is the working Wikipedia of Mexico facts, but we should be more focusing on the race facts, shall we say, or the race times.
Absolutely. And we will do that very, very shortly as the drivers go through their final preparations. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Go ahead.
Welcome back to Mexico City, and we are going through the final preparations for the season opener for Lights Out Racing Division 2. We are, of course, at the Circuit Hermanos Rodriguez, designed as a thesis by student Oscar Fernandez in 1953. And this circuit and its 17 corners, revised over the years, but still staying very, very strong and prominent as a technical, difficult, and very exciting circuit. Several overtaking opportunities around this track into turn 1 in the Solana complex after the very, very long start-finish straight, and of course into turn 4 after the second DRS straight. Plenty of excitement on offer for today's Grand Prix. Biggles and Fuzzy still with me here in the commentary booth. And guys, who do you have your bets on for this race, given what we've seen in qualifying?
Not sure about who's going to win the race, but there's definitely some betting going on in the underground market about who's going to have the most penalties at the end of the race.
Now, that is something I'm curious about. Who are we pegging for the most penalties then? Who are our Twitch fans targeting this time?
Nobody quite yet, but I'm sure we'll hear from them soon enough.
Yeah, do we get a little bonus there? Do the drivers get a bonus point there for the most penalties?
It's the FedEx most penalty seconds trophy. Indeed, you get to take that home. It gets shipped to you via the longest shipping method they can find.
Ooh.
And it should arrive by the
Panama-
start of next season.
That would definitely be via Panama, that's for sure. Though.
Is the Panama Canal still in good operation there, Biggles?
Yeah, I think. I mean, it's quicker to go through the Panama Canal than it would be for me to ship something to the United States. That's for sure.
Indeed, indeed. And we're just starting up the formation lap here. The drivers all getting off the grid well, and we just took a peek at the race strategy supplied by AWS. It looks like it is ruling out any sort of one-stop affair, but we'll have to see if any of our drivers will be daring enough to make that attempt.
You can do the one stop around this track, because on the last game it was medium to hard, that was the preferred strategy. But you'll be looking to do soft, medium, medium, because tyre wear can be a pain around this track. But anyone starting on the medium will have a good chance because of degradation. It's kind of like China, essentially, in pit to stop strategy for this track.
Great.
But you just don't want to pick up the penalties right there, because that's going to be the killer, especially through Sector 2.
That's right. It is so very, very easy to snip the entry into turn 10, which we'll see our leading drivers going through right now. That right-hander, really easy to clip the entry there. Really easy to cut 11 and then go wide here on this curb and pick up an invalidation. Great insights from our very own Adero. Now we can see there are several drivers that did choose to start on the medium tire, and that would be Schumacher in 11th, God of Hellfire in 12th position, and then the final two drivers, Ziploc and King Kunta, crucially as well, seen as sole leader on a set of hards for the start, and we'll be looking to see how well they can get off the grid, especially with those tires very, very cold and very, very hard to get into an operating window off the start. All the cars rounding the final corner. Now it looks like we have the Ferrari of King Kunta a little bit behind there. I hope he can improve on that pace once the race actually starts. But all the cars waiting now for our final driver, and these leaders are going to see their engines overheating and their brakes overcooling as they have to take this elongated pause on the starting grid. The tension you can cut with a knife as that final car approaches their grid slot. Here we are. That Ferrari is pulling into his grid space, and everything is set for the lights to come on. Here we are, getting ready. Surely, any second now, maybe, these lights will go on. Or maybe they won't. Are you guys at the trackside seeing the same thing I am at the moment? The drive's.
Oh, sorry. Did you want the lights on?
He's migrated to the...
I was waiting for you to tell me when to push the button. Hang on. Let me run down there and push it. It should be there in a second. Hang on.
Yeah, let's see if Biggles can initiate these light sequence. It looks like the lights are staying extinguished at the moment. These are some unbelievable scenes here.
Yeah, I cut the electricity. Hang on. To reconnect that.
It sounds
back
like the lobby is bugged.
It does indeed. Yeah, it looks like the race start sequence has been absolutely thrown out of whack. Now, Adero, do you know what the procedure is in this sort of
somebody there. Sorry, Zay was saying, Zay, what are you doing? You're supposed to be racing. He says one guy isn't loading.
Right, so the procedure in this case would be for that person to leave the lobby, unfortunately. So, if that person can't join, then they would need to...
Good. Sorry to cut you off. Do we know which driver that is? Maybe they can just leave and rejoin, perhaps. They might miss the opening race, but they might not spoil it for everybody else.
So, right, they should be able to join back and jump into
do we know who it is? Do we know who it is?
I think it's Camel.
Okay, so maybe Camel has to
just waiting.
Do the other 18 drivers a favor and
no,
jump back out and come back in? No?
Oh no, it's the race winner from Austria yesterday in LNR who's actually been on the plane, Anonymous, who's having the issue.
I thought that they had to load into the grid before this even shows. Anyway, if Anonymous, if you can hear me or you guys can chat out to him, perhaps he can just quit the game for a second and come back in.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, no, I hear him.
I'm starting to see the lights come on.
Go ahead.
Indeed. 5 lights on. Finally, surely these cars will be overheated to end, and it looks like the Red Bull of Vinicius getting a phenomenal getaway and a massive crash.
Yeah, massive
towards
crash
the
in the back. Anonymous, it's somebody else as well. Who is this?
Oh my
Anonymous,
goodness.
Ziploc, and Soul Eater, all three in a bit of a pileup in the back here. And then Anonymous just completely out of
There's
the
your
race.
virtual safety car. There's your virtual safety car. Good call there. Who was the gentleman that called out that one?
There is
That's Stevie Gaming.
so
I think he
much
caught that
debris.
one. I think he got completely, the Red Bull driver got caught off guard with the whole delayed time there.
Indeed, yeah, there's so much debris on the start-finish straight. It looks like Seamus Soul Eater never even got off the line and was propelled by the numerous other drivers. If we can get any read on the damage some of these cars have, it looks like everybody in the bottom 5 there suffering some sort of damage on their front wing. And it's shocking we don't have a proper safety car here because that's going to be a lot of carbon fiber to clean off of the start-finish straight.
So far, we have Seamus with half a wing, or it's hanging off at least. Looking from some damage on Ziploc on the same wing for him as well, right side wing. Tilted as well, actually. Yeah, it's tilted.
It looks like Vinicius here, our pole sitter for this race, is now down in 18th after suffering what looked like either a spin or contact at the start of Sector 2 there. And he's all the way in the back of the field now.
Whoever that was that called out the first lap safety car, there's quite a few people who'd like to make your acquaintance.
That was Stevie Gaming. He didn't call out the safety car. He called out the VSC, so he called it really right. What are you up to now, Stevie? You know something we don't know.
Take a look at this procession of cars through the pit lane. Half of the field is in the pits right now.
Just all these medium tires going on.
A Renault team double stacking Nick and Tess as well at the moment. My goodness. We're going to jump back with our leaders now, as it looks like there's a slight desync on the race order at the moment. But at the moment, it looks like Aircraft is leading this race in the Williams. And there's another yellow flag there in sector 2. We've got a racing point of Schumacher as well as Pile of Garbage making contact and possibly suffering some damage here.
It seems Schumacher got away with without any visible damage to his front wing.
Yeah,
Same
as well.
Luckily, these two won't have to go into pit again, get a new wing. That would have been painful.
Indeed, and the field has stretched out fairly significantly now. We can see the Ferrari of Enoch at the very back of the pack, currently fighting with the Mercedes of Seamus Soul Eater. They're running 2 different tire compounds at the moment, and I believe it was Seamus who had elected to start on the hard tire, the plan immediately backfiring for him as he had to be seen into the pits at the very end of the first lap. Meanwhile, the top 5 staying very, very close and tight indeed, as Cirillo is on the back of Bondi and, of course, Buffalo Beans chasing the racing point of Zay. We'll need to keep an eye out on this battle as it looks to be heating up quite a bit here.
This was a very fortuitous encounter for Cirillo. As we remember from the quali, Cirillo unfortunately wasn't able to set a lap until the very end, putting himself in 15th. So now he's jumped up 10 places from this whole scuffle we've had in the beginning.
Quite correct there, and we'll just take a look and see. In addition to Cirillo, who improved by 10 grid places, Buffalo Beans up 10 places from the start, as well as King Kunta up by 11. Meanwhile, our biggest loser, so to speak, for the grid position would be Anonymous, who went straight from 4th position to 19th, and then, of course, Enoch, who's now in dead last, unfortunately, for him. This graphic here is absolutely throwing me for a loop pretty much every single time, as it keeps saying that Vinicius is still actually in the lead of this race, and if that is true, then he must be in the lead by over half a lap. The slight desync there. Meanwhile, Cirillo still right on the back of Bondi. These guys getting very, very close into turns 4 and 5, but not much the Haas driver can do about his rival through Sector 2. Here, you just have to stay as close as you can, try to avoid understeer and launch an attack down and start finish straight.
Can I do a little pun there? I have to do a pun for sure.
Absolutely.
If it's Mr. Bonnie, he has to keep it shaken but not stirred, right? And that has to be the most awful. All right, I'm leaving
Where do
it
you
at
get
that.
these things from, Biggles? My goodness, that was great. I loved it. So at the moment, it looks like the front of the pack is staying very close, and Cirillo either suffering a little bit of oversteer on exit from the final corner or almost faking a move into the pits. But he has just fallen out of the window to attack his rival. Meanwhile, Pile of Garbage is having the exact opposite case happen to him as he's right on the back of the Ferrari of King Kunta, not using any overtake, just relying on that DRS to make the pass down the inside. The Ferrari tucks back into his slipstream. Is he going to make a counterattack? No, he is not, and the soft tires on the McLaren carrying him up into 9th position. The McLaren driver, of course, getting that rear wing a second time down the second straightaway here and able to pull away. But look at how close that Ferrari is. Only about 0.2 of a second separating those two as they head into the second sector. Of course, so challenging to stay in that DRS window as Bondi now is still finding out, chasing AJ as it looks like our leaderboard has finally fixed itself. But he's looking much closer this lap, doesn't he?
Hello?
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Rounding the final corner, these two drivers, and Bondi appears to be a lot closer this time. Now, the Alfa Romeo driver does not have DRS off the car in front, but it looks like Bondi is biding his time and saving his battery. He's gonna shelve that overtake attempt for another day. We can see on the mini-map there how close the front of the pack is. Arcraft running away from Iron Hammer just ever so slightly, but we're gonna cut back to Buffalo Beans here, still on the back.
Interruption here. It seems that there must be some alternate reality shenanigans going on here, because I see Vinicius right now, right ahead of Bondi, right behind AJ. So that's quite interesting. Definitely some Spider-Verse shenanigans going on there.
And the lobby is just messed up for me now, because it says Arcraft is in the lead and Vinicius has gone to 11th.
I share that sentiment. That is what my screen shows as well, but it does keep hopping around, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like a notebook.
Oh, yellow flags there in Sector 1 as Nick in the Renault suffers a spin and a severe collision with the inside wall there in Turn 2, and that is half of his front wing absolutely gone off his car at the moment. Not entirely sure how that happened, if it was a result of a collision with another car or not, but he's definitely going to be back into the pits at the end of this lap.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because no front wing around this track, not like Austria, you can't actually really do much, so that's pretty much his race over, but luckily he can pit now and not really lose too much in terms of time, because he can just switch to a 2-stop now and be able to carry on from there.
That's if he'd like.
Oh, and his teammate passing him very dangerously. Nick running out wide there at the end of the second sector, and Tess actually having to go off the track, which nets Ziploc. Tess's 14th position. So Nick actually throwing a wrench in his teammates' plans there and compromising them through the second sector. That Alpha Tauri now is directly in front of the Renault, and we'll see if Tess can launch a counterattack. Very, very close now to that car of Ziploc. Ziploc moves to the inside. Tess follows and goes around the outside into the braking zone for turn 1. Who will be braver on the brakes? The Renault driver seals that inside line, hits the apex, and gets the move done. Oh, and the Ziploc, running out wide and actually suffering a spin as well. Compromising his run and losing multiple seconds there to Tess. Go ahead, Biggles.
No, it's fine. You're up. Go ahead.
That is... We are on board at the moment with Bondi, who is still trying to solve AJ here. AJ placing his car expertly through the first couple of corners, but having a little bit of twitch on the rear end. This is going to give the Red Bull driver all the opportunity he needs to go down the outside with DRS and a lot more pace now into the fourth corner, and he seals the deal up into fourth, forgive me.
Yep, AJ didn't think too much about that. He's going to come back at him, but he's like, come, Mr. Bond. Do you really expect it to pass me? I expect you to crash. I don't think Mr. Bondi is going to be able to allow AJ to push him in that sort of pressure. So, and look at that, already building up a nice gap there, almost 7/10 of a second there over AJ, but plenty of time, only lap 8 of 36.
I do wish you all were in my reality right now. I have Vinicius fighting tooth and nail with Iron Hand up for second, and it's quite the battle.
That is definitely very heartbreaking to see Vinicius currently out of the top 10. Of course, that scoreboard keeps flickering every which way. But we've seen this before in LOR Division 2, actually, ironically enough, where we believe it was Macau who had his own alternative reality race in Vietnam, was it last season, and did very, very well. So we'll see if that alternate reality is kind as Buffalo Beans thinks about a move on the inside of Zay into the first corner. No opportunity just yet, but he's so very close, and his tires are going to be working overtime to keep him on the line through the dirty air in Sector 2. He's got to get that move done or see his race strategy potentially compromised.
We have a Jay fighting with Schumacher here.
Yeah, go ahead, Father, sorry.
Down 11, we have a Jay fighting with Schumacher down the straight. And he just managed to get by. Let's see if he can hold on to it as they fight through the corner. Through corners. Ooh, I don't remember these numbers actually.
That's why you got to print out the nifty track map as a cheat sheet as AJ gets through past Schumacher, not just through turn 6, but say it with me, Recorte Rebaque. Quite the corner name. Biggles, go ahead.
Recorte Rebaque, yeah! Derecha. Es que... Mucho rápido.
As a Panamanian resident, Biggles, I expected your Spanish to be absolutely on point. And we can see the McLaren of Pile of Garbage diving into the pits. He's going to be the first, or I believe actually maybe second, planned pit stop we see today, aside from all those that had to pit for damage after the first lap. And another set of softs going onto his McLaren, and that's going to be at least a two-stop strategy for him.
I do apologize. I'm allowing some of the children. I'm doing a charity thing here. I'm allowing some of the children here in Mexico. They can come up to the commentary into the telemetry booth here in the FIA race control, and I'm allowing them to play around with the computers and stuff like that. So I think they're playing. So they think they're playing some iPad games and things like that. At the moment, they're actually just messing with all this telemetry data. So, yeah. But you know what? It's the first opportunity to come up and be a part of race control. So why not let them do it? So I do apologize for all this telemetry going a little crazy. We'll try to give them to be distracted by something else.
Brilliant stuff. Of course, the telemetry will keep flickering. We're currently seeing Cirillo up in second position, a very far cry from his starting position, as Bondi is going to make a run on the racing point of Schumacher side by side into turn 12, and he gets the move done, going a little bit off the track there, being squeezed by his rival, but no harm done, and he sees himself into P9 or 8, depending which reality you're currently living in. We've got two more cars in the pits at the moment, and that is Cirillo and Zay, and crucially, our race leader, Arcraft, is actually staying out for at least another lap here.
Quick update from the alternate reality. I actually have Vinicius out in front by about 7/10 ahead of Arcraft. So Vinicius might be jumping up the leaderboards once the FIA determines which reality to keep track to use.
That's correct, I believe.
It looks like Iron Hammer just went a little wide in turn 4, as also there were yellow flags in the second sector. A Mercedes, quite possibly seen a Soul Eater suffering a spin there. Biggles, go ahead.
Yeah, it looks like King Cooper made a mistake, and you're absolutely right there too. That was I believe that was the positions there for a second there. Arcraft was right up there, and P1 as well.
Well, Arcraft has taken it back from Vinicius Alternate Reality. Also, we seem to have some requests through the Twitch feed, which is, of course, how we communicate with our loving fans. They'd like to see the tires if possible.
Absolutely. I live to serve, and here we have the tire overlay on now. It
Oh,
looks
don't
like
give it up so easy. Sorry, give it. You have to give a follow. If you want the tires, you have to give a follow. Tires for a follow. That's the deal.
Oh, I have faith. I have faith in equivalent exchange. It looks like actually Iron Hammer currently overtaking King Kunta on his set of hards. And in the meantime, it looks like Schumacher is going to try to make a move on AJ. Now, Schumacher's medium's far older than AJ, so it's going to be very hard to imagine him being able to make that pass. King Kunta getting close on the counterattack. Many, many battles going on here. My goodness, and Zay Bernace in 10th, or Bernice, my goodness, in 10th place. Only 2/10 behind the Haas of Cirillo, who has just recently pitted. Both of these drivers pitting on the same lap, and so very close together, and crucially running behind Pile of Garbage on his brand new soft. Immediately in front of them, the Haas driver goes a little bit deep out of turn 6, and that sets up that racing point to go side by side into the second sector. Who's going to be able to keep
Bondi
their foot in?
overtaking King Kunta in for fourth now. It seems like he'll have a mighty fine run on Iron Hand in a little bit, as he rapidly closes the distance here.
Indeed, and it looks like Cirillo got the best of Zay into the second sector, forcing Zay a little bit off the track. So hard to take that side by side. But yes, King Kunta finding himself between Bondi and AJ.
The race leader's boxed. That's Arcraft is coming out now. He slots into P2. I believe that's accurate there on the hard tire compound, so he should be able to go to the end.
Indeed, it's really interesting here. We have Arcraft and Iron Hand both seemingly going for that one-stop strategy, or one-stop excluding that initial scuffle at the beginning. And on the other hand, it seems Bondi might be going for... He'll definitely have to stop once more, possibly for mediums later on in the race.
Quite possibly, although if you are a driver that has suffered damage early on in the race, that really is the only safe saving grace you could probably offer, is to switch onto those hards and try to take it to the end. So Zay managing to get past Cirillo now on the same compound of tire, and Zay carrying all sorts of speed at this stage of the race, looking to pull away now, of course, and Bondi, at least in my reality, all over the back of Iron Hammer's Alpha Tauri, just twitching the rear end out a little bit in Sector 3, but he is going to look to make a move. He's got the soft compound on, Iron Hammer's got the hards, and surely this will be the move done here. DRS open for the Red Bull driver, but no battery left. Let's see if he can gain enough through pure speed here. The AlphaTauri going every which way, taking the inside line into the Solana complex. The Red Bull going around the outside and getting that move done. That is Bondi up into second position.
Down in 15th, we had Enoch just recently overtake Tess using his slightly worn mediums to blaze past the fresh cold hards.
That's right, and we'll see how long it takes Tess to warm those tires up, because that's going to be a possible counterattack, just as we see Camel now going down the inside of God of Hellfire into the first corner, sealing off that racing line, nailing his braking point, locking up ever so slightly, but he is up now into 12th position. But both of these drivers running on fairly old tires here. We're going to jump on board now. Battles all over the track with Pile of Garbage, who is right behind the racing point of Schumacher. He's rocking the boat. Schumacher goes wide on exit from 11. Now the McLaren driver moving to the inside into 12. And is he going to be able to nail that pass? He takes the inside. The Racing Point driver tries to switch up the racing line, diving into the next corner. But the McLaren driver comes out on top. Wow, so close to contact between these two.
Seems like Tess has gotten a good handle on those hards. She has a run on Enoch right now, down in 16th. And she looks to be going for the inside line. Ooh, not quite, but can she hold it through the outside here?
Oh,
no, not quite.
Room there. There's no room to be found there. Tess will have to be patient and wait on Enoch. His tires are worn. He will not be
Buffalo Bean's going to make a big braking move in solo in the corner there. Can he make it stick there? AlphaTauri versus the Haas. No, not quite yet there. A little shout out there. Who was that there? Get in there, Blondie there. Yotis has predicted R-Craft, Blondie, and AJ for podiums. So a little too early, but who knows?
Exciting if we're in for an AJ run through the pack. AJ currently in 5th or 6th, depending on what mood the timing board is in. And we're just going to jump back on board with Tess, who is carrying so much speed out of that final corner, slotting themselves in to the slipstream of Enoch. Enoch moves over to the inside early, and Tess says, "Thank you very much, DRS Open," and nailing that overtake down the start-finish straight.
Using the help of a certain medically inclined wizard, I've managed to determine that the two realities have somewhat merged now, so things seem to be all right now.
That may be true. I still have Vinicius in first position at the moment, which is may or may not be true. Let's just jump to that right after we give AJ and King Kunta our undivided attention. AJ, as predicted by our friends on Twitch, cutting his way through the field up into 5th position now on his medium tires.
Buffalo Bill now here with a good run on Serlo, it seems. Closing the distance hard, but no, it seems like it was not quite enough. That low wiggle costing him on the straight. He'll most likely have to wait a little longer to make that move.
Now, these cars still very close together, of course. Cirillo only 0.6 behind Zay, and Buffalo immediately behind him as well. Now, of course, if you're Cirillo, you've got to hang on to Zay for dear life, because that DRS is not only going to help you attack, but it's also going to help you defend against the driver behind.
Yeah, my telemetry's all messed up there at the moment. I think my telemetry's kind of trying to favoring an Australian, as it puts Zay all the way back in P2, but that's not correct, and you can see the timing board changing once again. Kids,
pile of garbage here.
The control board, but they don't listen. But anyway,
pile of garbage here with a good run on King Hunta, up in 7th.
King Kunta struggling on those old tires of his as he tries to make the one-stop work, but he is suffering such a disadvantage in pace right now, as there are 16 laps of wear in those medium tires. Surely, soon enough, he'll be able to put on the hard compound and take it to the end, or is he trying to squeeze him far enough to be able to put on the soft? That would be hard to imagine with still about 20 laps left in this race. A pile of garbage making his way through. We'll jump back with Buffalo here, who's in the slipstream of Cirillo. Will he be able to solve the Haas driver now into turn 4? Unable to do so, but look at how close he is. Look at how much velocity he has, as Iron Hammer now picking up a 3-second time penalty. Buffalo Beans locking up ever so slightly into Rebake and dropping back to 0.6 behind his rival, struggling in this dirty air at the moment.
Yeah, keep an eye on King Kutha there, the Ferrari driver. 16 laps on those mediums. His last lap was a 121.8. Now, Serlo, if that's correct, is 120. So he's losing a lot of time. The leaders are doing 17s and 18s. So he's in big trouble if he doesn't box soon.
Goodness. And, of course, he does have another stop to make. Bondi will surely have another stop to make. As we're watching Pile of Garbage size up AJ, having closed that gap very rapidly over the past lap, moving to the inside, and AJ, it's almost a wave by, really. He's not going to fight the driver on soft tires. He's going to let him run out of tire and counterattack him later. Now, what's interesting is that Arcraft in the lead does have a set of hards on his car, and he's going to look to take those to the end. And Pile of Garbage closing down that gap on AJ and sealing the deal for 5th position. Taking a look through the rest of the order, it looks like a lot of drivers towards the back of the pack running on hard compounds at the moment as a bid to perhaps be able to take advantage of essentially one less pit stop to jump those that are in the lead will have to pit. But of course, that's going to create a really large speed differential towards the end of the race that we'll be so excited to keep an eye on. For the moment, though, Buffalo Beans here finds himself stuck behind his rival, but as we're on board with Schumacher out of the exit of turn 11, and he's side by side with the Ferrari of King Kunta, you can see how much degradation Oh no, forgive me, those are fresh hards. Those are fresh hards. Kunta putting on that compound and trying to tussle with Schumacher. Schumacher spinning around after contact and a piece of his front wing tumbling down the runoff area. Disaster for Schumacher, who's on a fresh set of softs, and those tires are going to be crying out for help with how much heat has been put into them from that spin. Into the pits he goes with only 1 lap in those tires for repairing that damage. So unfortunate for the Racing Point driver.
I mean, I'm sitting here trying to figure out the penalty times for all of our drivers, but there's so many. I'm actually having to borrow a supercomputer from a university. I'll get back to you with that in a second.
Make sure that you're supplying it with adequate cooling, as there is a virtual safety car now on the track, and it looks like the Ferrari of oh goodness, it might not. Oh, it's Enoch. It's Enoch out of the race in Sector 2. You can see it's beached on the outside of turn number 8. The marshal's clearing that car up now. But that we have our second driver out of this race, and there were only 17 left. Gonna go on board with Buffalo Beans, who is going to want to time the safety car restart to perfection, and it looks like he has, using that safety car to keep himself within Cirillo's slipstream. And now we have a Red Bull exiting the pits immediately next to them. It's going to be 3 wide into the first corner. Is the Alfa Romeo driver going to try to make a move on the Haas car? No, he does not. But now there is the Red Bull of Bondi with fresh medium tires. Immediately behind these 2 cars, Buffalo Beans is going to start noticing a lot of deg on his tires very soon, as those are softs that have gone 7 laps now. And he's in the slipstream of the Haas in front of him, but still unable to do anything. Cirillo leveraging absolutely supreme corner exits to leave his rivals scratching their heads. Now it's time for Bondi to activate, as he is going to look to potentially use the reduced pace of Buffalo through the middle sector to try to set up a move down the back straight. Let's see what he can offer. He's nearly backing into the Alfa Romeo right now, nearly pushing him along, getting a great exit, but the Alfa Romeo driver in front of him still having DRS off the car in front, falling out of a second along that straight. Forgive me, actually 9/10 now, locking up into turn 13. The Foro Sol grandstands full at the moment, and Buffalo crucially staying within that second of the car Cirillo to have the DRS to be able to defend against the Red Bull. But look at how much battery Bondi has. It's nearly at 100% charge. He's making a run all the way from the back of the straight, gaining, still gaining yet on his rival. Will he launch a move down the inside? He looks at it, he thinks about it, he's gonna try it, and not close enough. And fortunately, those 2 cars getting away with no impact. Who's going to get the better corner exit now? Out of 3! The Red Bull driver nearly losing his rear end, and that's going to compromise his run down the rest of this straight.
All right, the AI has managed to figure out exactly what the penalties are for these drivers. Had to put it down, unfortunately. Got a bit too uppity, but going from the top, we have Vinicius with a 3-second time penalty. We have Arcraft. Arcraft actually does not have a time penalty, so he'll have to be playing for that later on in the race. Ironhammer with a total of 6 seconds on his name. Zay with a total with 3. Cirillo with a absolutely massive.
Sorry to cut you off there, bro. It looks like Bondi's going to make a pass there. Blondie. He's going to make a pass there. Yep, sorry to cut you off there. As it goes to the grandstand section, you can hear all the Mexican crowd not social distancing because this is a race right now, and they don't give a shit.
Oh my goodness, and the Alfa Romeo driver making contact with the wall out of turn 16. And he is gone. Where did he? Oh, he's went into the pits. It looks like he lost a piece of his front wing. And Bondi walks away with 6th position, but crucially picking up a 3-second time penalty after running out on exit of 11. Fuzzy, go right ahead. Apologies for cutting you off.
Let me say that I don't think that 3-second time penalty will matter much, because Cirillo here is running with a 17-second time penalty. So that's massive. He's absolutely going to need to put the pedal to the metal and just blaze forward as much as he can to try to stay in the points now.
staking his claim on that FedEx trophy, perhaps. We're on board at the moment with Schumacher in 14th position, sizing up a move on Tess. These drivers running very, very opposite tires at the moment, with the Racing Point driver fitting a set of fresh softs.
There's also Bondi there and AJ. Sorry to cut you off. There's two other battles there. Looks like Bondi's even closer there to Serlo. And then AJ is also on the back of King Kutha, who's closer. Bondi, actually. Look, Bondi gets past there. Serlo.
Oh, but does he yet? Does the Haas driver think of sticking it down the inside? No, he does not. Ooh, it cuts the corner quite badly. We're going to jump back with AJ now, who's crisscrossing every which way with the Ferrari of King Kunta. And the Ferrari driver, very aggressive, keeping his rival behind him for the time being, but surely it just looks like AJ has so much pace on those hard tires right now. Of course, we are willing him to go to the podium from our Twitch predictions, but look at how good King Kunta's exit was out of that final corner. Almost no battery left for AJ. He's gonna run out right about now. That battery's at 1%, DRS open, but will he be able to make a move down this corner? The Ferrari's light flashing red. That car also out of battery then, and trying to stick it around the outside, get a better exit side by side into the next corner, crossing the racing line one more time, trying to leverage a better exit out of turn 3.
Bit of a tail wiggle there. It's losing a lot of time to King Kunta.
He had so much pace out of that corner, but as you had just correctly stated, that little wiggle just cost him an overtaking opportunity down that straight. We're going to jump on board with Tess, who is just getting ever closer to the Racing Point of Schumacher, but making a mistake through turn 2 and losing out massively now, over a second and a half back. Oh, how unfortunate for the Renault driver. And it looks like, actually, Vinicius has returned to our world now, slotted into 3rd position at the very moment. And running immediately behind the AlphaTauri of Ironhammer. And it looks like Cirillo into the pits now to relieve himself of those 12-lap-old tires. Ooh, and AJ nearly losing it out of the final corner as well. My goodness, battles up and down the field now. And we're seeing that dirty air just impact drivers so heavily, especially on corner exit. Now that one, Alfa Romeo is going to look to make a move on the Ferrari once again, taking the inside line again, just like last lap. And trying to rock that boat, trying to push his rival into a unfavorable corner exit, but King Kunta expertly plants the throttle and is just gone into the distance once again.
Yeah, don't think you'll be rocking too many boats here in Mexico up so high. You're a long way away from the ocean. You'll be rocking the boat in Monaco if you want to rock those multi-million-dollar boats. But right now, he wants to be rocking past that Ferrari. And can he get past? It looks like Bonnie's then got past Zay up into P4. But this big battle there between AJ and King Kutha, nothing between these two guys.
Absolutely. And, you know, with Monaco, we're just happy to have those barriers so that the cars and the boats don't mingle in the water as they did back in the 60s. The Alfa Romeo driver, meanwhile, getting a great run on the Ferrari. The Ferrari driver forcing him to the outside again. Is AJ going to be a little ruder this time? And he is, passing King Kunta and allowing Camel now to get within striking distance of these two cars. Camel, though, on very, very old hard tires. Goodness, there's 21 laps in them. He's been running them almost from the start of the race. So surely he won't be able to make a pass against these two drivers. But we'll keep an eye out on that as we're on board with Bondi now, who's sizing up Zay, who has managed to get their way up into 4th position and holding onto it for the time being. Back with our drivers in 7th to 8th. The Alfa Romeo and the Ferrari going side by side through these corners. King Kunta really truly is the master of defense around this track and actually gets the DRS against his rival, pulling away down the rest of the second straight.
Beep. There it is. The drivers get that little beep in their ear, and that means extra horsepower, almost 20 kilometers an hour. But it's a very short DRS straight, but anything can give you that little bit of an edge right now because it's a very short track. It's one of the second shortest tracks of the calendar, so it's up now to AJ to do everything he possibly can to get past the King Kutha and get past the Ferrari.
Surely he's going to be able to make a move now. Now the Alfa Romeo driver perfectly happy with taking the outside seams into this corner, trying to switch back that racing line against his rival, but the Ferrari just parking it on every apex, making it really impossible to pass. Some supreme driving we're seeing out of the Ferrari driver at the moment. so close. In his slipstream now, AJ. Now he's going to take the inside line. What a monumental run he has on his rival, and surely that is King Kunta. Oh my goodness, is this... Am I seeing... Oh no, that's just a bit of a lag spike. It looked like the Ferrari driver had just collided with the wall, but no harm done. They continue their motion down the straight, seemingly unharmed. We'll keep you updated on that situation as it progresses.
Sterlo here, looking for a run on Buffalo Beans. Down in 9th.
And the run he gets around the outside, and he just goes a little deep, nearly missing the corner, and the Alfa Romeo driver takes his spot back.
Well, the King Kuth has now shown me his P10. So there was a bit of a lag glitch that you saw there because he was battling.
Who is that?
And now he's back to P10. This is... Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was the AlphaTauri of Ziploc, who seems to have had a spin out of turn 6. He just lost a lot of time there, but he is a lap behind many of these drivers already. And is everybody else seeing what I'm seeing on the...
Oh, damn, Iron Hands on Inters. What is going on?
Oh, that is a severe error by the AlphaTauri
What is
squad.
going on?
This is disaster.
I didn't even know you could do that.
This is taking the Daniel Ricciardo prank of Monaco 20, I believe it was 16, a step too far. And the AlphaTauri driver just sliding around every which way. Iron Hammer in such high positions, but the pit crew just putting the wrong tires onto the car.
If you guys on Twitch are chatting to any of the drivers or any of the Discord channels, and you are listening to any of the voice chats that they are doing, please fill us in on this because we are completely confused. I know I shouldn't be messing around that much on race control, but this is completely all chaos right now. We need to get a little bit of an update there.
Somebody please radio Iron Hammer and tell him he's got the wrong tires on. He probably can't even see the tires out of the cockpit of his car. The drivers are sat so deep, but he is losing just heapfuls and heapfuls of time, multiple seconds per sector to pile of garbage. Those tires are probably beyond any sort of livable temperature, melting into the pavement. He's going to dive into the pits, surely at the end of this lap to get a correct compound.
He's burned through all of ZRS to get back as fast as he can.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, and we've got the Haas driver of Cirillo sending a move down the inside, very ambitious onto AJ, and colliding and going into the wall, destroying his front wing in the process. That was far too ambitious of a dive bomb from the Haas driver, and that is his race, just ruined in every fashion.
And Ihammer's back in the box there to change those tires, so perhaps that was a correct call and not a Codemasters glitch. So he's decided to go, dry tires, guy, dry. Did you not call me? Did you predict something I didn't predict? Because it's certainly not wet, because look at the clouds. There are none in the sky.
He was listening to Martin Brundle, and he definitely probably got a call for that.
Still waiting for the rain in Hungary. Still waiting
Yep.
for the rain in Hungary. Now, wouldn't it have been brilliant if it just happened to start raining over the course of that lap? But
Cirillo with an absolutely eons long pit there. Oh, that's cool.
I wonder if he's suffering any damage or anything of that sort.
Possible.
Oh, goodness. Mexico rarely fails to amuse. Everything from Sebastian Vettel, I believe it was, telling Charlie Whiting to take a hike, to now wet tires on a dry track. We're seeing quite a great battle of the ghosts here between the two Alpha Tauri drivers. One lapped, the other one on the leading lap, I believe. Or perhaps
Absolutely.
is 2 laps down.
You are seeing that, and that's what happens if you go telling the FIA to take a hike there. So Sebastian Vettel right now is struggling to get a contract in F1. So kind of don't, as they say, poop in your own backyard. Anyway, I'm showing Arcraft as being the net leader there. I think it's almost caught up there, but I'm showing Zay Barnes as P3 there. That's not correct as per your screen, I believe. So we've got a still bit of a mix there of the telemetry.
Oh, goodness, I'm going to interrupt you here, Biggles, as the Red Bull driver Bondi having a scuffle with his teammate, at least in my version of reality, and colliding ever so slightly in the second sector. Back to you. Forgive me for that interruption.
No, that's fine. I'm just trying to get a grasp of what's going on in this virtual reality of this race right now, because that's all we need just to try to get an update of what's really happening there. If you guys can all confirm who is actually net leader of this race right now, what are the top 3 positions?
And Zay getting a really good run down on AJ. into the Foro Sol section. The Racing Point driver squeezing the Alfa Romeo driver. The Alfa Romeo driver returning the favor. But on those fresh, soft compound tires, Zay is very, very confidently into P5 now.
To answer your question there, Biggles, I got RL Craft, Vinicius, Bondi, Pile of Garbage, Zay, Ajay, Buffalo Beans, King Hunter, Camel, and then God of Hellfire around at the top 10.
Okay, yeah, that's mixing up a little bit there too. I believe that Savage of your feed.
That is pretty reflective, actually, of what I'm seeing at the moment. Between, of course, Vinicius bouncing between first on the road and somewhere in the top 10. But the gaps look like they have stabilized a little bit, and we're sort of close with our reality.
Are you showing Bondi in P2 there?
It hops between. You can see
Okay.
now Vinicius in first, but then Vinicius sometimes dips to about 6th or 5th on the road, so it's kind of a mix. It's a mixed bag at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we apologize for this, and I'm sure it's not only absolutely annoying for you guys to watch, it's annoying for us to commentate with, and I'm sure it's even frustrating for the drivers as Jeff is going, yeah, you're currently in P4, wait, P7, wait, P13, wait, P1. So I'm sure it's a nightmare, but hey, all they can do is put in the quick lap times, and they consistently are, and giving us entertainment as well. So this is what it's all about.
Indeed. Now, Iron Hammer now on a fresh set of mediums, begrudgingly and very surely angrily trying to cut his way back through the field, sizing up God of Hellfire in the McLaren in front of him now. He's going to have all sorts of pace, but how high he could have finished if not for that monumental error, I think the Mexican newspapers will be writing about that one the following day here. But we'll see if the AlphaTauri driver can make a run onto the McLaren. The McLaren with 14-lap-old hards on board. The AlphaTauri, of course, with 2-lap-old mediums. He's not even ducking into the slipstream. On my screen, it says Cirillo was disqualified from the session. Can you guys confirm?
Indeed, yeah. I see the same thing.
But I believe that if you rack up more than 25 or 30 seconds of penalties, you get excluded from the protocol. So that's quite possibly what we just witnessed. Fuzzy, I remember you telling us that.
Yeah, let me go grab my abacus and go through that.
Oh goodness! Get one of those early prototype calculators, one of those bricks from the 80s.
Yeah, I believe that I was just checking on the Twitch before. Like, there is a limit to how many penalties you can get before you are showing the one and only black flag, which is the one that drivers don't want to get. So, and especially when you do get that FedEx award, wasn't it? I believe for the.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So, but it's a limit to the FedEx award. It's like you can only push it so far, and then that's it. You do not get the award.
Indeed, Cirillo here has gotten 8 3-second penalties and one 5-second penalty. So that's quite interesting. What is that? 29 seconds of penalties? Oh my!
That's Cirillo's record there.
That's it. Indeed, I believe that's probably the record for this.
This is unbelievable stuff. And at the moment, Buffalo Beans backing up into Camel under the virtual safety car, trying to be careful with that delta. Of course, you don't want to get a drive-through penalty with only 3 laps remaining in the Grand Prix, but that has allowed King Kunta to get dangerously close to the back of Camel. Oh, the Ferrari driver just biding his time on his old hards, but very, very close indeed. This pack has collapsed into a fighting distance. Buffalo Beans now looking to try to make a getaway, but the soft tires on Camel's Mercedes looking much fresher and much stickier. Let's see what the difference is through this middle sector. A left, and then a slight lift on the throttle, and then a right, and then a flat-out left-hander. Careful not to run wide and get a good run out. The Mercedes driver does exactly that, moving to the inside into turn 12. The Alfa Romeo driver tries to stick it around the outside, just keeping it barely within the track limits. And they are still side by side into Foro del Sol, and the Alfa Romeo driver just squeezing Camel onto the inside curve of 14, regaining that position, but at what cost? He is now going to be under attack through this entire start-finish straight. DRS open for the Mercedes, sticking in the slipstream of the Alfa Romeo, and look at how much speed he has, making it clean past the opposing driver before the braking point even begins. Camel into 6th position now in his Mercedes.
In a version of reality, we have Vinicius making an overtake on our craft down the start-finish straight, and he makes it stick. So we will see
Brilliant
where
stuff.
that. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna check here on my on my map. Vinicius is exactly half a lap in front or behind Arcraft, whereas the timing screen shows only 8 seconds. So all of this is been thrown out of whack by that very messed up start sequence. But we'll stay with our drivers in 7th through 9th here, as those guys definitely seem to be in the same world. Although Zay Bernice's pace seems to be out of this world, the Racing Point driver making a move down the inside of King Kunta into 12, and making the move stick very confidently, an absolute slam dunk of a move from the Racing Point driver. But Zay is not done yet, as they find themselves now on the back of Buffalo Beans. Very good exit out of Mansell. The Alfa Romeo driver seemingly reliving last lap's horrors as he was overtaken by AJ. Now suffers the same fate against Zay, and Zay now into 7th position. Buffalo Beans just tumbling down the order at the moment.
I'm showing on my telemetry here 22 laps from Arcraft on those hard tires.
I see the same thing.
With 0 penalties. So if this is the case, and also 1.6 off a leader, he's definitely going to have to win this race because Vincius, God, I will just demolish people's names. But anyway, the Red Bull driver in P1, that is showing now, I believe, that too on the Twitch feed, is going to unfortunately lose out because he has 3 seconds time penalties.
And it looks like AJ has retired from the session. It looks like in the second sector, we see his car beached there on the outside wall. AJ running so high up, I believe it was 4th or 5th place, but now he is out of the session with terminal damage. It must have been oversteer out of turn 11. There, you can see his car again, and that's the end of the road for him. Additionally, we caught a glimpse of Nick spinning in Sector 3 and suffering some damage on his front wing, I believe. And we're back on board now with King Kunta, who is now going to terrorize Buffalo Beans, who is absolutely hating those medium tires at the moment. They're just not working for him. And once again, at the cost of a terrible exit from the final corner, now the Ferrari of King Kunta making it past him as well.
Our
race leader, P5, the Australian driver, fastest, very fast times right now, but fresh tires. But I'm showing him P5 if that's correct.
I'm showing P6, so it's going to be very interesting to see how this race wraps up, to see what positions we have for all these various drivers in their various races.
I just hope that we can construct a portal or something to be able to pull those drivers back from the alternate reality. It would be a shame to just have them disappear off the face of the earth. But we are on the final lap now for the leaders. There's actually not very many drivers on the final lap as well, as it looks like Arcraft, in an absolute class move, has just made his way away from the rest of the field, leading Bondi by over 31 seconds. At the moment. That's the price of an extra pit stop there. A stunning drive by Arcraft, but we still have battles up and down a grid. Ironhammer now recovering on those fresh mediums, and he's going to size up the Alfa Romeo Buffalo Beans, who runs wide once again. And now the Alpha Tauri driver sticking it down the inside of the final corner, compromising his exit ever so slightly, but that will not matter as he opens up his wing and just cruises past the other Alpha, you could say.
And our leader is across the line there.
That's right, yes. We just caught that, and that is, at the moment, with our current protocol, Vinicius taking the win, and Arcraft in second, and that is going to be... well, that is the official protocol.
If Bondi can cross the line here and stay in P3, then that'll be a prediction sweep there from Yoda. He got it.
Very impressive stuff. Wow. Did he get the order
Yoda
correct
predicted
as well?
Arcraft, Bondi, and AJ for podiums, and we didn't get any specific order, but he got all 3. Wow.
AJ,
can you give us some stock predictions there, please, Yodas? Because we don't put all the money on what you can predict. Wow.
See, that's interesting.
Oh, Buffalo Beans spinning out and crashing on the last lap.
Oh my goodness. We're going to catch that on the following car here. Out of turn 11 as well. Similar fate to AJ. And we have the God of Hellfire cruising very slowly. You can see there that that Alfa Romeo just destroyed sitting on the straight.
Very reminiscent of Kimi's crash this past race. Or, no, sorry, not Kimi. Giovinazzi's crash in Spa.
Indeed, yeah. It's just without the tire rolling down the track, of course. Thankfully, that was
Indeed.
very dangerous.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah, really unfortunate for Buffalo too, because he had a few penalties, but he was set for something. But that's it. So Zay actually was cruising up and down all over the. Guess who gets driver of the day there, as you can read on the screen.
A hot pile of garbage, apparently.
I think it's. I think it's. Is that correct, everybody? Hopefully, it's pile of garbage.
That's what
But,
it says. Yep.
Yeah, there's our leader there celebrating Red Bull domination, as you can see. Lift that trophy up. That's heavily not glitching, and I'm very glad that your head is attached to your player profile as well.
Oh my goodness, what a race. Absolute confusion out on the track, but still plenty of phenomenal battles between our drivers here. And it looks like in the official protocol, Vinicius has in fact taken the race win. So the protocol reads as follows. Vinicius in the Red Bull Racing taking the big trophy for the Mexican Grand Prix. Arcraft in the Williams in second place. Bondi in the other Red Bull taking third. That's going to boost Red Bull up supremely in the constructor standings. Pile of Garbage in the McLaren, driving from all the way down in 16th on the grid in 4th position. Camel in 5th, Zay Bernice in 6th position. King Kunta 7th, Ironhammer 8th. Buffalo Beans 9th, and then God of Hellfire rounding out the top 10. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with some driver interviews very, very shortly.
Yep, there we go. Disaster strikes, as somebody commented.
And we are back in the post-race briefing room, ladies and gentlemen, and we've got quite the selection of drivers here with us. We've got Arcraft, who finished up on the podium in his Williams, King Kunta, who had a fiery race fighting for points, and Ironhammer, who will tell us all about his team's ability to see colors on the sidewalls of the tires. Let's get started with Arcraft first. Congratulations, of course, on the podium finish in the very first race of the season. Can you walk us through a little bit of your race and what you saw out on track? We in the commentary booth actually had no idea if you were in first or second during the duration of that race.
Yeah, so I guess I picked a different strategy. I was just watching Vinicius's lap time, and I knew it would come down to the last couple of laps. Unfortunately, I think the game was a little off. I thought I was just 1 second behind, but yeah, I guess I couldn't keep up. He was racing real fast, and I just couldn't do it with the hard tires.
Great stuff. And just tell us a little bit about how those tires were feeling towards the end. You, of course, went on some very, very long stints. How did you manage to keep it on the track?
Well, thankfully, I used the VSCs to take the softs an extra lap, and there was another couple of VSCs in hard, and I just had to drive a little bit slower, and I just couldn't quite. They didn't feel that bad, but they never felt that great. So I just tried to hold it out, and I couldn't quite do it.
Superb. Well, congratulations on the podium and the race strategy overlay. Didn't even think it was possible to go on a one stop at the start of the race, and you proved it wrong. Great stuff. Up next now, we have King Kunta, who, how many overtakes do you think you had completed over the course of that race? Walk us through it a little bit.
Well, the majority of them were on the start-finish straight, right off the lights. I don't know what happened, but we were lucky to miss the collisions there, and I gained, I think, 8 spots. From then on in, the stint kind of sucked. I was on the defense pretty much the entire time. I was on those really old games. Went to the hards, and just tried to get in everyone's way as much as possible without obviously crossing the line. But I had a good battle with AJ as always. He's having a tough time finishing races, but I know he's a good driver, so I'm sure he'll bounce back. And tough to see my teammate go. I don't know what happened to him, but he could have had a real good haul of points today. But in the end, I'll take P7 from P19 on the grid. That was a really fun race.
Especially
very... Go ahead.
Especially for 2 laps there on the same strategy as Arcraft. So congratulations, the only 2 drivers in the top 10 to take one pit stop, shall we say? Not I counting both tires, but yeah, congratulations.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, can't wait for the next one.
Absolutely. And now the one and only Iron Hammer. What disaster in the pits for you? Tell us what happened there during that stop that put you onto the intermediate tire.
Oh man, I just want to say a great intro. I was smiling when you introduced the team pit. I must have borrowed Seb's engineer. I don't know what the heck was going on, because they wanted to put me on used softs, and so I was trying to switch to. I knew I had new softs. I hadn't used all my softs. I only used one pair, and then it stuck me on the inters, and there's no changing it after a certain point.
That is absolutely horrifying, and
I was on for my maiden first podium, so it was just yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you
probably would have too.
condolences on that.
Other than that, you drove a pretty good race too. Like you didn't have any penalties.
I could have had pole. I messed up my hot lap on one of them. I had a lot of penalties though. I got a 5-second on one of the extra pit stops I had to do. So it was just the game screwed me over.
That is so tough. Honestly, how did you even make it back into the pits? Were those tires just sliding all over the place by the end of your
So that's why I got the 5-second penalty, because I literally drifted into the because they were overheating so much. I drifted into the pit lane. Like because I was like creating a whole backup. I had like 4 cars behind me trying to get past me. So I just swung it to the right. I just drifted in, and it gave me the penalty. There was no stopping it.
Well, Iron Hammer, good call there on the sponsorship. I'm sure you get a little bonus for the sponsorship to getting a lot more airtime there as we were watching you with those inter tires. So yeah, good call for your sponsors. But yeah, obviously bad luck there. But you're entertaining, and we're gonna see a lot more entertaining driving out of you. So
yeah, this is my. I know Ramacron and that other fast driver weren't racing, so I felt that like this was my biggest chance to get it. So hopefully I can fight back from this, but the team really needed the points. We haven't been doing well in 3.1 or 3.2, so I'll let them down, but I'll do my best next race.
Tell you what though, you absolutely made the best of everything you had. Like you said, you almost had pole. I think Biggles picked it up on the broadcast, but did you use your entire battery to try to get back to the pits faster on inters?
I was so flustered that I didn't care that it was on. I didn't even notice until like I got out of the pits and like it was all gone. So it was
It was just instinct. You knew it makes you go faster.
it was
You did
probably doing more damage than good. Honestly, it was
that's
probably hitting the.
So
Wheel
at the end
spin's
of the
only
day,
bad if you're sideways.
at the end of the day, iron is more powerful than carbon fiber, shall we say?
Oh yeah.
I made a couple good overtakes. I overtook God of Hellfire and a couple, but I was lucky that Beans DNF because if he had finished, I would have been behind him with penalties. So I was lucky at the end there to get P8 or whatever I got.
Indeed. Great recovery to cut through the field on those very final laps on the medium tire. And thank you to all of our drivers here for sharing their thoughts with us on this nail-biter and very, very dizzying race in some sense. Biggles Fuzzy, what do you make of this one? What are your kind of takeaways here?
Okay, so, well, yeah, I'll just go brief it up there. I'm not going to allow children to play around in the race control next time. So apologies about that. Okay. So yeah, we'll try to sort that out. Codemasters, thank you very much for that brilliant job. And well, you know what? Every once in a while, it's good to see drivers waiting at least 30 seconds on the grid, and that obviously changed that. It influenced it. If we didn't have an exciting race as it was, we'd had to add a little bit more element to the exciting race. So it's always the first race. So you know what? Okay, granted, get that over and done with, and we're going to see more and more exciting race. And thank you very much for commentating with you guys. Brilliant job once again from the Masters, Mr. Savage and Mr. Fuzzy. And I look forward to working with you guys next time.
Absolutely, same on my end. Despite being separated by various universes, it was a great race, both from the drivers and from my fellow commentators. Definitely looking forward to continuing this.
Great stuff. And once again, a stellar job. Biggles, thank you this time. You've been the safety car driver, you've been the medical car driver, you've been in the helicopter, in the telemetry booth, and now you even turned into a marathon runner, sprinting all the way from Panama to Mexico City to hit that button to start up the lights there at the start of the race. Good effort. You didn't even sound like you were out of breath. Now, from all of us here, Biggles, Fuzzy, and myself, Savage from Team Crossroads, thank you all of you guys on Twitch for joining us for this race. The Division 2 of Lights Out Racing will be back next week, I believe, with Austria, if my cheat sheets tell me well. And until then, well, we are looking forward to seeing you guys again. Keep going as fast as you can, and thank you for joining us.